H. I can't.
I'm a cage.
I literally can't talk.
Good. I'll try to help you out and do some of the talking, but it'd be fun to watch you not able to talk, so everyone else can enjoy that too.
The void in my head is becoming larger. I went to town on Saturday. Okay. 2 people stopped to speak to me, and on both occasions I stuttered. I've never stuttered in my life.
Why do you think that was?
Just think, I've got a lot of like stuff going on. Like I'm in town, there's all that like the whole time. Like, am I far away enough from everyone?
So there's a lot to because of the confusion around this whole thing. We're not sure how to behave. Am I encroaching too close to people? There's that need of connection that we all have, and that need to survive. Are like going. So we're so not sure that we're even. I can't. How do I socialize again? So the idea of actually knowing how to socialize, which is great. That's why you started this conversation from quarantine, because you wanted to stay sane, basically. And it seems like you wanted to know how to, make sure you don't forget your social skills, the social etiquette of just talking. So no, I get it. And I'm so glad to be a part of saving your
sanity.
This is called saving Claire's sanity from quarantine.
It's really called Claire gets an hour of free therapy every day in public.
Beautiful. So this is a coaching session, is it? Well, I love it. So what are we going to bring about? It's more like, this is a conversation, so it's not like an interview, which is awesome. I like the idea that we can just, chat about something different. You just told me before jumping on, I'm just really don't know a whole lot about this, but it's the idea of having a chat. So people, rather than seeing the news, because, the news, we don't actually realize how powerful it can be into our unconscious, that we pick up something and we start to create the momentum of fear within us, and it can actually psychomatically make us sick or start to have the symptoms, even if it's not the thing itself. And I went through my own experience on literally 2 days after my birthday. It's funny how the World Health Organization declared it a pandemic on my birthday, 11th of March. I was like, well, happy birthday, I guess. But my ego is not so big to think it was all about me. So on the Friday, I got that respiratory and having the whole problem, but I skipped a few of the other symptoms. So I was just confused, because it is a confusing time. We've never faced this before. But you know what? Everyone, and I read it recently from a friend of mine, but she didn't write it, someone else wrote it. But we're all not on this. We're not all in the same boat, right? No. We're all in the same storm. The storm is happening, but we're all in different boats. We're all in different experiences, and how we deal with it is completely our responsibility. Because, someone could be stuck in a traffic jam, and one person's freaking out. And I remember they did this report. Someone was reporting about something about traffic jams, apparently, and they interviewed this person. How do you feel about blah, blah, blah? And they're really angry, this traffic jam, I didn't want to be in this traffic, blah, blah, blah. And then they went to someone else in the same traffic jam. How are you doing? I'm liking the time to, be just looking out and just chilling out. Same storm, different boat, different perspective, and how they perceived it. Instead of being from a victim mindset, they took it on as an opportunity. And that's what I love when I'm working one-to-one with clients, is shifting the perception, because to change a thing outside of yourself, it takes a lot of work, especially if you want to change someone. We know how that works out for everyone, don't we? You want to try to change someone. So it's like this situation. We can't change it right now. If we're in lockdown, we're in lockdown, depending on what country you're in. But if you change your perception of it and look at it as like an opportunity, like you are. Oh, you know what? There's only so many times I can clean behind the books. So there's only so many times I can, follow a workout program online, like I just did a little while ago. Got to keep the energy going somewhere. You're now branching out to go, where else can I be creative? What else do I want to do? Rather than, venting out in ways that attacking yourself or attacking others or blaming, and you're taking the responsibility on, and you're going, right, what can I do to keep myself sane and actually go, I want, the whole point is I want connection, I want coaching, I want to see different perspective, I want interesting things. And you took the initiative, and that's you not shouting in the traffic. That's you going, you know what? Yeah, I like to stop for a moment.
Yeah. And I have shouted in the traffic as well.
We all have. My goodness. But it gets boring to shout after a while, right? An hour later, you're still shouting. You'd be like, you know what? Stop resisting.
Yeah.
Accept it. Be in the flow of it. All right, cool.
Yeah.
When you're not stressing out, now you can get into the creative space, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure you're probably shouting for a bit. I know, and I saw some of your Facebook posts. You were at moments you were being real. You're like, this is driving me bonkers.
Yeah.
And
struggled at times.
Yeah, and you've taken, but you didn't get swept away with that.
No.
Right? And maybe you will have your moments, like we all do. We're still human. We're not perfect.
Yeah.
No stretch of the imagination. But you've taken on, and you've alchemized the situation. And who knows, this may carry on and birth into what you realize is your true calling. I mean, you're a heck of a character. You have that energy, that wackiness, I like to say, and also combining with self-development. It's a beautiful mix. It's a big color, like the things behind you is a representation of your personality. In this, people love that. They want humor and fun through this time, right?
And what a network! What a network!
Yeah.
I mean, I can't believe. I mean, I guess it is an extraordinary situation.
Definitely.
But I cannot believe people's generosity, because literally, I just Facebook message people and say, I'm doing this new project. I'd love to have a conversation with you. And everyone's just like, yep. And literally for the rest of lockdown, every morning there's going to be a conversation.
Well, it's the perfect time, because everyone's at home.
Everyone's at home.
Most likely. So they're like, they're
an essential worker.
Yeah.
In which case, they might like to watch it later for something different.
That's true.
Rather than hard, stressful work and the news. Yeah.
Yep. Well, what's funny? Because I'm still, obviously I'm speaking to different coaches and things like this. And one of a friend of ours is laughing kind of with me and at me in the situation I've somehow put myself in. I've chosen this. There's the spiritual choices of, we choose our family, we choose this. So here I am, right? Just before the day before New Year's, I am a single guy, doing my thing. Yeah. The next evening, pretty much, and in the coming weeks and months, I'm in a relationship. Then I come back from my trip from London, from a birthday visit with my family, with my partner, a girlfriend, in case people think, what does that mean, partner? And we come back, and it's like lockdown. So I'm in the house, and I've already been pretty much living here, and I'm living here in self-isolation, and then the children here. So there's me by myself 1 minute, and now I'm here in self-isolation with my girlfriend and 2 children.
Wow.
So I can imagine a lot of people going, oh my God, the homework, this, that. 1 minute, I'm literally the lone wolf.
Yeah.
Suddenly thrown in the situation, self-isolation with children. I'm now homeschooling and, it's playing with them. And I'm just 7 and 10 years old, both turning 8 and 11. So I've had to quickly adapt. Now, funny enough, within 2 weeks being with them, and this, I look at it as able to be in touch with the higher self, right? Whatever that means, right? The thing beyond my scarcity human part of myself. Yeah. There's something that's higher, right? That guides you. Because if I suddenly went into my fierce self, I would be overwhelmed probably. I'd be like, children, this? Oh my God. But with the work, with the practice, with breaking free from that old self where I was, rock bottom, where am I going to sleep? Like it was painful. That was only a few years ago. To be where we are now, we're very affluent,
yes,
and they're very abundant. But so much abundance as there's children. I mean, if this pandemic happened a few months ago, literally 3 months, I would be by myself in my place.
Yes,
where I am. But now I'm here, and I'm loving the challenge. I'm loving the diversity of the children, and you know, dealing with the emotions and understanding. It's helping me heal my own childhood through them as well.
Amazing.
And I'm so aware of the childhood and the impact my behavior has on them. That's why I watched. Any parent out there watching right now, and I know you're a parent yourself, but they're not so small. So you're kind of maybe glad it didn't happen a few years ago.
Yeah. Although I wouldn't mind the company.
Yeah, exactly. So it's that balance that you get to have yourself, but then after a while going, you know what, I'm getting pretty tired of myself right now.
I can't get myself.
So this is why you're doing this. It's this. At least you're doing the very best you can with the situation you're in. So I noticed when we were parenting, I seen a lot of the same patterns. You know, that's my thing. I see patterns, I disrupt the patterns and go, well, it's insanity to do the same thing over and over and expect a different result. So I looked at it from the bigger picture of how we're parenting the children in my vast months of experience. And I know it's... So, but because of the work I've done on myself, I've got myself out of the way. So I'm very much like I like to see myself as a flow. So I'm seeing flows. And if I don't see things flowing the way it should be, I ask myself why. Yeah. And with this, you know, if you put your children to bed and you're met with the same resistance every night. Yeah. And if you ask them to do homework, you're met with the same resistance. Yeah. You know, sometimes the game you're in, it just isn't working. And I suddenly went, you know what? I've got to change this whole thing. We need a system. Yeah. So I created a concept called the value game. And it's evolved to the point where as soon as I told them about the game, me and Julia, we sat down and I told her about the value game because, you know, they're her children. And when I'm creating a concept, she trusts me enough to know, because she's seen me with them now in the short space of time, 24 hours, of how much they're growing and changing and developing, and including herself, including myself. Yes. There's an element of trust, and that's what I really appreciate from her, that she's allowing me to step in and go, you know, she's not like protective in any way. It's a free flow. Yeah. And she would love, obviously, help with all that stuff. Of course, you know, met with crying, resistance. So I see patterns, and the system we're creating is a point system. So we just did a podcast on it, so people can check it out on Hummingbird Unlimited on the Facebook. Yeah,
let's put a link to that in the comments.
Yeah, we'll link, and they can. Yeah. I put it on my own Facebook page as well, so it's on my Facebook. It's on Hummingbird, and we're about to do something big with Alex and Julia, our show. So we're talking to someone, and we're going to get it out there. But the point is, why we're doing that is to create the conscious hub. We want to create consciousness within relationships, especially now where everyone's on top of each other. Yes. If you don't get conscious now, you're going to implode. Yes. Going back to the value game, the point is, was to let the children know the game they're playing. Yeah. Because at the moment, they're sort of at the whim of us when they can play, when they can do this, when they can do that. Whereas they don't really know. They don't have the control. They don't feel that maybe they have the control of their own world in a way. Yeah. So I wanted to give it to them for them system to say, look, if you do things like read a book, write a bit about it, or if you decide to watch an educational program, or if you play outside, or if you eat salad or have some vegetables, or if you go to bed without resistance, or if you brush your teeth and get dressed without us asking, or get ready for bed, all of those things, they earn points.
So they're like agency back.
Yeah, they get to have independence
in our lives.
Yeah, they get to have the independence, and they get to know, okay, if I do this, and then they reward themselves with points, and they can spend those points on things like the iPad, a phone, depending on whatever the situation is, or they can play on certain things that you would not be great for them if they just played it all day long, right? Yeah. So we kind of want to have it where they've earned the right to play those things, because you know what it's like as an adult. if you could just play all day long, it doesn't. If you just did that all the time, watching TV and bumming out, you don't feel inspired. You don't feel great. But if you work hard in the morning, for example, you know, you do stuff, you're productive, like you're doing this, you feel like, I feel good. And then you chill out and watch something. You don't feel like, you know, I could be doing something more when I could be. So it's that cultivating that environment for them that they feel like they earn it. And people might go, but why should they earn to play? But we're not saying earn to play. We're saying earn to the right to like be on their iPad like this, right?
I think that's a great idea.
Thank you. And it's evolved into an idea where they can use those points for bigger prizes like Disneyland, for example. They have to learn how to pay themselves first. So they have to put 10% of their points away, for example, into the bigger prize. So, and then we're going to start using the points in a different account that they can build interest on. So the points are growing by not touching it. Because I want them to delay their gratification.
Yes.
Because they did a test on the marshmallow test. There's a book called The Marshmallow Experiment. And I want you to jump involved in this here, because if it's me just ranting on, I want you to feel. But if you want me to continue, I'll continue.
Carry on.
Okay, thank you. So the marshmallow experiment with these kids, they got these kids to sit there and they asked them, you know, if you don't eat this marshmallow until I come back, you'll get 2 marshmallows. Yeah. And so they did a test, and you see some children kind of doing this, looking at it, looking away, you know, cute kids doing cute things, right? Some turning around, squeezing their eyes, you know, not looking at it, whatever strategy they would use. And some kids would just pick it up and go, and then eat it, right? So some kids would eat it, some kids just couldn't wait, and some would. The thing is, it's an innocent experiment, of course. Yeah. Some eat marshmallows and some get 2 marshmallows. Yeah. But they actually followed them in 10, 20 years' time and saw statistically that the children who waited for the 2 marshmallows were doing better in life than those who just ate it straight away. Yes. So I see a direct correlation between the game as well and the future. I'm looking at not just the immediate effect, because we saw immediate effect. They wouldn't resist going to bed anymore. They realized they would lose something and they could gain something. So it was in their hands. Yes. So they realized, why would I complain? I've got to do it anyway. I don't want to lose points. I want to gain points. Yes. So the immediate was sorted, but also the long-term effect of it, I'm seeing for their future self, getting in the practice of saving, getting the idea of earning the right to these things. So they appreciate it. When they get it, they appreciate it so much more. So anyway, there's more details.
I love this. Really good. Really good concept. And I'm sure people will really value, because I've seen that people are really struggling at the moment with all of these things with their kids because of
so much, man.
The situation.
Yeah. Well, it's a tough time.
Yeah. So you've got a very compelling story. Firstly, that you have been actually very ill and struggling to breathe recently.
Yes.
That you know, and I always like to emphasize the fact that that these conversations aren't belittling the situation that we're in or the suffering that people experience. And also that 5 years ago you were sat on the back of a bus with your head in your hands going round and round London on the night bus because you had nowhere to live and couldn't bear to ask somebody again if you could stay on their sofa.
Yeah.
So would you like to talk about how you have lifted yourself out of these situations through changing your mindset?
Well, thank you. Okay, bring it. We're going there, Claire. We're going there. Okay, so
it is quite personal.
You know, I share it on stages, and that's where it kind of leads to, right? Yeah. With my head in my hands, my hoodie on, and my bag on, and I felt just so. I wanted to hide myself. You know, I felt so disgusted on myself that I just felt like Schmeagol riding the back of the bus. You know. And I think now I'm thinking Lord of the Rings, that representation of that self-loathing turned into the Schmeagol from Lord of the Rings. He was a human-ish hobbit or whatever, and he turned into that. We can do that with ourselves, really. I know it was a sort of metaphor, but we can poison ourselves. Our mind can poison us one drip at a time, one thought at a time. And it had led to the point where it felt like it was the dam was, about to break.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't stand myself anymore. So you either, some people go with that and, unfortunately, just want to end the game completely.
Yeah.
And there were times, of course, I was thinking I didn't want to be in that pain anymore.
Yeah.
I didn't know how. It was like my own, there's some illnesses out there that attack your own immune system.
Yeah.
And, you're in real trouble when that happens. It's like yourself attacking yourself, you mentally. Yeah. And you're wondering who's attacking myself? It's me attacking me.
Yeah.
Where does it come from? So my awareness was catching myself realizing that I'm doing it to myself. So it's the unraveling suddenly started to occur from there. And funny enough, it links into the value game, because I actually asked myself in that moment 5-6 years ago, end of 2015, beginning of 2016, not that long ago at all.
No, not long at all.
I asked myself, you know what? I'm suffering because I'm thinking about myself. And I'm in a position, when people don't have money, and you know what, they're going to be hit hard. A lot of people are going to be hit hard. I looked at statistics yesterday in America. They statistically have 45 million workforce on a 9-to-5 in America. Half of them are out of a job. And about 80%, lost a wage. Like that's about $1,500 a month gone.
Yeah.
We're talking about 35 million people, which is insane. So we're going to feel, a lot of people saying this is an economical war, if you want to go to conspiracy theorist route. And it is going to have an impact economically for years to come, because we're trying to stabilize as much as we can, government bailouts, depending on what country you're in. And a lot of people are feeling the pinch, especially in the catering and hospitality. You got your shop, of course, and there's so many different people having more of a pinch than others. So
I'm really fortunate, actually, that I'm entitled to all of the government support.
That's beautiful that it can come into effect. Now that support, what's the knockoff effect because of that? It's too hard for us to fathom that at the moment, but all we can do is the best we can each day, right?
Yeah.
We're responsible for our own economy, and then there's the other economy. So going back to where I was in that time, money obviously has a big impact on your psyche and the stress. And if you have stress about the fact that you don't have money, and the uncertainty that you can handle, because your life is in the direct correspondence to the uncertainty you can handle. So a lot of people who are very much, very like the routine, very samey, this is freaking a lot of people out. But you and me, I thrive on uncertainty. So times like this, I know I'm going to be all right, because I put myself out the comfort zone on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Now, with that uncertainty, stress lowers your immune system.
Yeah.
Fear lowers your immune system.
Yeah.
Which makes you susceptible to the very illnesses that are flowing around there anyway.
Yeah.
And the corona, is going to be easily able to go into your body if your immune system's lowered, right? It's not rocket science.
So you're somebody who's had it, don't you?
Yeah, I've known people who've had it. Yeah, well, I believe that I may have had it myself from the respiratory problems, which is funny. I'm a fit guy. I do what I do. And sometimes, you know what? You just get it. Doesn't matter how fit or psychologically strong you are. Things just happen.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
But I'm all about the prevention better than the treatment. And, I'm back on it. I'm pushing myself cardiovascularly. I'm pushing Julia. She loves me for that. Because and even the children, I want them to work out, because I want to boost their immune system.
Yeah.
At least give the best shot. So if you do get it, it's really vicious, whatever happens, whatever illness it is, at least your defenses are, strong. But the point is, if people are worrying and stressing, watching the news, they're lowering their immune system, making themselves more susceptible to it.
Yeah.
So going back to the story of where I was stressed out. I was freaking out. My mind's attacking me. I'm at the back of that bus. My immune system is low. I think I was getting ill regularly as well. And that was dampening my confidence in myself. And I realized, the suffering is about when you think about yourself. And I had the thought about value points then. About, if I'm giving a lot of value to people, I'm can be met with value some way. If it's money, you know, for doing something, you get something back, you're helping a lot of people, or it comes back in other ways, support, love, you know, value, right? If I'm not getting it, it's because I'm not giving value. I'm not utilizing what I have, and I got to find out what that is. I want to find my thing.
Yeah.
So that search began, and you know, from UPW, seeing Tony Robbins, you know, reading lots of books, it was a culmination of different things that unlocked, and I started believing more and more that I had something to offer. And in 18 months from that moment of me going, what am I going to do with my life? I was speaking on stages, representing Tony Robbins.
Incredible. It's an incredible story.
It was a bizarre experience, but I realized, you know what? We limit ourselves. No one else limits us. Yeah. No one was saying, yeah, Alex, you can't do this, you can't do that. I mean, there were people saying it, but if I believed them, then I'm limiting myself.
Yeah.
But how many people have achieved amazing things being told that they can't do that? You can't do that. Arnold Schwarzenegger, you know, you can't, from a little town in, was it Russia?
I can't remember where he was. It's incredible. Like
Soviet Union, being in a small town, like to become, you know, what, Mr. Universe? Are you kidding? Yeah. And then through that, you to be a Hollywood actor? Are you kidding? Yeah. To be a governor? We all have our own mountains to climb, and no one person not any more special than someone else, but we're all on our own journey. If we believe what someone else says, oh, that's it, we can't do anymore, then and then we agree with it, what does that do? Now, you have to realize sometimes in ourselves to go, you know what, that's not the fight worth going after. Yeah. It's, you know, something like they say the road less traveled, or, you know, choose a path of least resistance. You've got to listen to yourself. And that's the job of our development, isn't it? It's to clear the muck enough to trust, to hear ourselves.
Yeah.
That's what it is to stop the noise and go, right, how do I connect and go, right, this feels right. So in a moment, the value game, we're talking to developers to put it into an app, right? To make it accessible. So my vision, really my big thing is to walk around in my hippie clothes, you know, love to have reaching millions of people with educational things that help make their life more convenient and give them more time and space to understand themselves, because they have systems that are taking care of the things like many things for their children or whatever it is that comes out of my mind. I want to make it accessible. Yeah. That's really my thing. I'd love to do that. So going back, to my mind works in mysterious ways. Going back to, talking 18 months later for Tony, to then find out things about myself and do my own events, that you came to that event. Wake up, go and live.
Do you remember I coughed, spluttered and sneezed the whole way through?
Yeah, it was beautiful.
I was so ill.
Maybe you had the corona then. I don't know. Who knows?
Right? I think I did.
So, but funny enough, no one in the whole room got ill. But if it was a corona, then I guess they would say everyone would get sick, right? But
I guess so.
I don't. If there's so many virus can jump 6 feet and so many different weird things about it. But the point is, people going, where is he going with this? Try to live in my head for a minute. So the idea is when you suddenly get past yourself from one place going, what am I going to do? And you start to just get out of your comfort zone and start to do these things, you start to realize life is a game. Life can be what you want it to be. And you can, you're only limited by your imagination. And it just seems to unfold the more you believe in yourself and that energy that you create within yourself. It's like a flow, and opportunities seem to come, and you have the confidence to act on them. Do they all work out? Clearly not.
Yeah.
But you learn from them. For me, that's what it's all about. It's the learning it's the process. It's not about then I get there.
Yes.
Right? It's the journey of it, because that's what it is. If you see anyone who's made successful businesses, a lot of them, so much more, they were happier at the beginning when they didn't have everything. But it was the journey of their idea, and they're creating, they're living by their why. They had a purpose. They were like this. But when they get so big in a big company, they lose why they're doing it, and it's all about what they're doing. And then thinking to themselves, why am I doing this again? So sometimes we think I was talking to a guy yesterday who this Russian guy who has funny enough, coincidentally, he's made apps that have been bought by Facebook. I mean, he's close to a billionaire, right? He's a neighbor here, and we're talking, and they have their kids. He's been giving a lot to hospitals here in Cyprus, over $1 million to help with the whole situation. So hearing from his perspective, and talking from there, and it's like looking at the mind of someone who's, say, worth $1 billion. It's like, how do they think? What is it? I was observing it.
Yes.
And are they any more happier? I mean, I saw some of the crazy stuff they were doing before the quarantine, like the fun they're having, like taking these cars across. It's like a Burning Man on wheels. They kind of having, like, millionaire, billionaire like lifestyle. You're just traveling and doing all this cool stuff. And I'd love to, I'm sure that will happen. But realizing to get there, it doesn't mean I'm going to be any happier. I realize it's like, well, what am I just be, right? It's not like I learned this yesterday. It's just reconfirmed it, right? It's funny how this thing, what we're on right now, is called Be Live.
Yeah.
It's like, be alive now. So yeah, it was just observing it and being around people who are massive influencers in the world yesterday, just hanging out and talking, who are, with presidencies, and they do this and they support that, and they being connected to it. It's just funny to see it where I was to where I'm now, the level of conversations, Yeah,
I find successful people fascinating.
Yeah. But then what defines success, right?
And that's what I was just going to say. Like, what is your definition of success? Like, my definition of success is some sort of daily contentment, and some sort of purpose, some sort of altruism, some sort of well-being.
So if I ask you this question, Claire, in honesty, in your hearts to heart, and for anyone listening to this right now, do you feel successful?
Yeah.
There you go. If you feel successful,
my business has been closed down by the government, and I don't know when it's going to open again. I think it's going to open in 2 months.
But I can say the same thing to a billionaire right now and go, "Do you feel successful?" They could say, "No, I don't feel successful. That's why I'm driven to do more. I want more. I want more. I want more." So, who would you rather?
I'd rather be. But I always want to do more.
So if someone who answers that question right now saying, "I don't feel successful," then they could ask themselves, "Well, what is it you think you need in order to feel successful?"
Yeah.
And if they, Tony Robbins talks about it. If your rules are to be successful, I need $1 billion in the bank. I need to have all my children happy all the time. My partner is, happy all the time. Sometimes we put the success way out of ourselves, that we give it it's too external, and it's just not. We make it very hard. Some people can feel successful with the very small things because they've changed the rules, the unconscious rules of what it is to be successful, right? What it is to be happy. And it's just us exploring that, go, well, God, you know what have I decided without me realizing it from however old I was, that means success. And, the relationship we have with our childhood is what we have with life.
Yes.
Everything stems from the childhood, and the relationship we have with our parents is what we have with the world.
Yeah.
So the challenging relationship we have with our mum and our dad, it's going to play out in some area in our lives.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes that work where we click in ourselves to just, forgive whatever it is then, in order to not be met with that resistance or those lessons that we need to learn over and over until we get it. And
I met you at Tony Robbins' event.
Yeah, I love this story. Yeah.
So my accommodation had turned out to be some sort of a weird scam. I don't know, whatever. I don't know what happened. There was 8 women. There was 2 beds. None of us had met before. It was kind of awkward. We didn't have a key. We didn't sleep that much. And when I arrived at the event, I was not in a terribly good headspace, but I was trying to be brave. and you asked me if I was okay, and I just burst into tears. I had all this luggage. Do you remember the luggage?
I remember the Waitrose bag.
A bag full of food.
Just a bag full of everything.
£100 worth of food, like just in case I get hungry over the next 4 days. Yeah. And then, so we had this conversation. Now, the week before, because I had been listening to Tony Robbins for some time, and the week before I had watched I'm Not Your Guru on Netflix. So I was kind of familiar with the routine, and I had this conversation with you, and you were like, just want you to go out there now and go and ring your parents and apologize for always holding them responsible for your misery. And I was like, inside myself, I was like, well, I'm experiencing a certain resistance to this, but hell, that's what the people on the documentary did, and it seemed to work out okay for them. So I was like, when is anyone ever going to ask me to do this again? So then I went outside and I phoned my parents, and I said exactly what you said. I apologize for always blaming you, and I'm going to take responsibility for my own life now. Amazing experience that, because that was in the April
2016.
Yeah.
Or was it 2016? No, it wasn't 2016.
2018.
2018. That was my first UPW. But 2018, I was managing the area, and I was a broken foot because I'd just spoken in Israel, and I broke my foot 2 days before going to Israel. So seeing you, I remember. What did we speak for, like 10 minutes? And I
didn't notice that your foot was broken.
No, I had my foot on this chair. I was like, "Are you okay?"
You're a bit lazy.
Well, maybe there was a little bit of that, you know. But I remember, you came and you're holding the bag, and I trust my gut. If I see something, I call it out, and I know it's a gamble sometimes, but I have a way of doing it where it's hard hitting. No, maybe not someone wants to hear, but that's the point of a coach. It's not a friend to tell you what you want. No. I say what I see and what you need to hear. Yeah. And at that moment, for whatever reason, I identified how you were carrying the luggage. It was a metaphor for your past.
Baggage. And past it was. And I nowadays.
Yeah, well, thank goodness. But I presented in a way that you clocked it. You realized you were like, and then tying it with the reason why you don't want to drop. You want to drop that luggage. Call your parents. And don't hold them responsible for yourself. Free yourself from it. And with your commitment to your transformation, that's why you were there in the first place. You, with courage, without ego in a way, you just went off and did it. And I admire that. And wow. And when you came back,
that was in the April of 2018. And then in the June, we were supposed to be going away for a family holiday in this massive white house in Cornwall, the whole family, all of us, which we were all really excited about. My dad got ill the day before we were supposed to go. And then my dad passed away the day after my birthday that summer. But because of that work we had done, I was able to be there for him when he was ill. I was there when he actually passed. I was able to help organise the funeral. I spoke at the funeral, and none of that would have been possible without doing that work.
That's you're 100% spot on. That a lot of people are either afraid to go there, or they're just so caught up in being right. Yeah. That they lose out forever the love that will free them to have a more a life of just more expansion, love, and all the things they want. And I work with clients that are so still resilient on being right. You go, is it worth being right? What is it you actually really want? And they realize, you know what, just be wrong, but not beat yourself up. You're right. Just be like, okay. What's that?
I can still get caught up in being right.
Me too. And I catch myself and I see
at the moment.
What was it? Especially at the moment.
Because everything's so magnified.
Exactly. That's my thing at the moment. I'm using magnify left, right, and center because it is everything is so magnified because we're so intensely on top of each other. People are hating people for going out. You know, oh, why are you going out? So we're now like splitting. Now, weirdly, like the people who are staying at home are together and the people going out are together. So now there's divide. No, we're right. We're right. And it happens in like any situation because we think that what we're doing is the correct thing. They're not doing it, then they are wrong. A collective. But then what about a country like Sweden that they just went, we're just going to crack on with life as usual? Are they all wrong because they're doing it? So where does it, you got to catch yourself and go, you know what, rather than getting caught up in they're all this and they're all that, it's like, looking out for each other. We don't know that if that is not the right thing to do, to go out. I get it. People are in fear and so angry at others because really they're afraid.
Yes.
Right. And that's what it is.
Some of us need fresh air and exercise.
Yeah.
Yes.
Some of us, and the people are going out and socializing, maybe they don't want to be caught up in the fear and they want to
maybe they're really chronically lonely and can't cope.
Chronically
lonely and can't cope.
Yeah. Whatever maybe they like, we don't know the situation everyone's in. Everyone has their own story, right? Everyone has their own world, and whatever reason they're doing it, if they have problems of loneliness because then they think about suicide and things like that, they need to be with people.
Exactly.
You know what? That for them, they probably think, well, myself will do more harm than the virus could.
Absolutely.
So who knows? If I'm focusing on other people all the time in that way, I then get to ignore my own situation. Ignoring, because we can use this as a way to ignore our own problems and use it as an excuse to hide behind. So
I did that this morning, actually. I did that this morning.
What did you do?
Used other people as an excuse.
For what for? You love your honesty.
A friend, and I said, "Oh, I'm running out of some basic foodstuffs, and I don't want to go shopping because people are such assholes at the moment."
Well, that is a perception. So people are, well, you know, you're right. People can be.
What I meant was, I'm anxious about going shopping because I'm anxious about not keeping to the rules and feeling disapproved of.
Yes. So anyone who's so that, you know, it's a funny point what you said. So when you come from that place, when people are doing things that that seem to aggravate that part of you, then they become an arsehole under your definition. Right? Someone who's not behaving from that place they come from, they go in that situation, they're not surrounded by arseholes at all. They're just people shopping.
Yeah.
Because you're aggravated, or if people do, because at this time, it's very easy to get caught up because we're all in a bit of fear and this and that anyone who does something that we deem as wrong, or we have an expectation that they wouldn't, and they do something because people are people, they suddenly become morons or arseholes or whatever it is.
Any word.
Yeah, any word, because of the reaction we're getting within ourselves. Yeah. It's not really them.
Because I'm fearing judgment from strangers, then all strangers are now completely wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like the population, basically, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if you're having that, you're not the only one who thinks that.
Yeah.
Right? But it's beautiful that you're honestly saying it and sharing that.
Yeah, because I think it's universal. Because I see people calling people idiots for going outside, and I think what they mean is, when you go outside, I feel it's not fair because I'm staying in, and I also feel insecure because I think we're spreading the virus.
Yes, and that's what it really is. It's if they express it in that way, well, why are they? Because I'm scared that I'm going to be staying here much longer than I need to be.
Yeah.
I'm afraid that because of that, I can't work and I might lose my home and I'll be rejected and I won't be loved, because they're the two core fears behind everything. The fear of not being loved and the fear of being rejected. So we're all facing these fears head on of what economically take. I mean, economical and impact is going to be felt for a long time. But there's ways to learn, right? You can be hopeless or take responsibility, go, right, I need to learn my way out of this, right? And that's what I'm doing now. I'm heavily more involved in looking at index funds that basically buy a basket of stocks, because obviously they're much lower, but it's not bottomed out yet by any stretch of the imagination. So the opportunity comes with a bit of cash that anyone might have. You might go, you know what, that's for my future self. I'll buy it when it's low in an index fund, fees are low, and it will accumulate over time. So I get it. People are in a state where they're selling, right? That's usually what happens. They're not sure, uncertain, they sell. They sell whatever they have low. I feel really concerned about, obviously there's the elderly. My father's older, and the pension and what he has, and how people have pensions tied up in stocks, and that kind of thing, and how low it's going, because they want to, the contrast is they want to protect the elderly and the vulnerable, right, from the health. So they lock everyone away. Economically, it's strangling them. So you either have the fear of like the virus, and you get it health, you may come out of it and go, oh wow, that was right. Or you may have it like most people, 80% of people apparently have it and don't even know they got it. Right. It's quick, they kind of go through it, or the economical stranglehold, suddenly the quality of life goes down. And that's my worry, how the stress of that obviously have an impact worse than the virus itself.
On people's mental health.
Mental
people's ability to access good nutrition.
Yes, so there's so many aspects to that I feel will have a bigger impact than the virus itself. And I don't know, if we look at statistics, what's real? People, they say, if someone is already very ill and they get the coronavirus and they pass away, they would say it's the coronavirus. But what about the illness they actually had? What is the truth of the statistics? And I saw something in LA when they mentioned it actually, how the numbers are actually a lot bigger. A lot more people actually have it, which means that the death rate is actually 0.1%, give or take, which makes it so low. That they even said it in I'm not sure if it's in the White House, the conference room. You could hear them over talking. They were waiting to be, to speak in front. And if some official people were talking, going, you don't even need to wear the mask. The numbers have been so wrong. There's actually a lot of people that have it, and not many people, like 0.1% die. So it's, whatever. And the guy went, so this is all a hoax? And the other guy was saying, no, it's not a hoax. If I can find the link, it's something in the American White House. They were talking. So the point is, I would love to alleviate fear. Right? I just want to help people to alleviate fear and do whatever it takes to just, forget about it. Get back to yourself. Get back to what matters to you, right? Get back to what matters, so that you can appreciate the time that you have and what you're doing in this quiet time. And let's hope this doesn't become the new normal. Like, when does it get to the point where we go, because what did they say? They said a few weeks lockdown. I think ours is supposed to finish. From what I'm hearing, it'll probably go to the end of July. I was
wondering that when I was making my bed this morning. Because I always make my bed every morning. No matter what, make my bed. I've taught yoga this morning. I've danced in my kitchen. I've done some aerial hoop, and I've made my bed. And when I was making my bed, I wondered, what would it take for us all to be able to mix again like we used to?
And this relates to the problem of my breathing. And I was wondering to the point where I was becoming so conscious of my breathing that I couldn't even let go and allow my body to take over.
Yeah.
So when I was trying to sleep, I was like, I would go to sleep and then I'd wake up, the shock of my body trying to like breathe. It was freaking me out because you're breathing going, I bloody hope I wake up in the morning, you know,
you're
like
on oxygen, weren't you? You're on oxygen.
No, we had a mask here that you so breathe in a chemical to help expand the lungs. I wasn't on a ventilator because I wasn't in the hospital because I had a whole nightmare trying to go to the hospital. So we just stayed at home, just, you know, be in a good place. I don't want to be stressed out by that stuff. Just, you know, work on myself energetically, do whatever it is I can. But the point is I realized that my breathing, I was thinking, am I at a point where you forget how to breathe, but it's if you ever twisted your leg and you've had to walk in a certain way for a while.
Like you don't trust your body.
Yeah, you've let your foot's healed, but you kind of have to remember how to put your foot in front of the other in the normal way again. But you know, I remember when I was younger, I'd be like, I twist my leg and I'm trying to walk, and I'm like, how do I walk again? You know, and it's that kind of mentality of that people and socializing. Are we going to be a bit like, how do I leave the house? Where do I go? You know, it's a very strange time.
Connection is important for us.
And I think anyone who's watching this who hasn't had a conversation with someone, get on the phone and have a conversation with someone.
Yeah.
Get on a Zoom, you know, set it up like this. Have a real conversation. Have a few a day. Don't forget that. You know, here we are wanting to connect.
FaceTime rather than phone. Because FaceTime, the brain, when you're actually looking at someone's face, the brain takes that as proper connection.
Well, they say, what is it? The connection, words are only about 14% or 12%. Then you've got body language, which makes most of the communication, and, you know, facial expressions and tonality as well. So seeing someone, it actually expresses more than the words.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right that to see someone actually have a conversation has really a beneficial effect. And we're lucky that we had the technology.
Yeah.
That we're all not locked in a house without any technology, that we can't still connect.
Yeah.
So, you know, my focus is certainly around one, how long do we stay in lockdown till we as a people, humanity, go, wait a minute, this is going to have, every day is having detrimental effect on the economy. When do we go, realizing that it's a very small percentage of the population, very, very small, 1%, who are dictating what 99% of the population do.
Well, this morning.
They had that much power to lock us all in our homes. Celebrities, millionaires, billionaires, everyone has to stay at home. We get to the point we're going, okay, we get it for the health, for the vulnerable, but every day that passes, the vulnerable, there can be even more vulnerable people based on this.
Yeah.
In the world. The stress of this is going to lead. The fallout of the stress of this on people may have been more detrimental, more deaths than the corona itself because of the economy of this, right? So, you know, when does it get to the point where we go, oh, another month, another 2 months, another 3 months? When do we go, actually, you know what? Thank you. When do we go, we're going to step out and get back to our normality as quickly as possible? Yeah. But there won't be a normal after this, obviously. Yeah. But there's a point of, you know, a shift, right? Where the power of people trusting people again, that we can make the decisions and go out there and actually, you know, be conscious, like Sweden, you know, is doing what they're doing. When can we take that approach? You know, how long does it take?
Yeah.
Because what do we do? Wait, you know, everyone get back to normal, but one person's got the corona. Guess what? That 2 people, then 4 people, then 8 people, then 60. Yeah. You know, do we go round and round and round again? And then there's this idea of the vaccinations and, you know, making it mandatory. And I'm sure a lot of people are going, and a lot of people, it's so caught up in their fear. They go, yeah, whatever, give me the vaccine, you know? Yeah. So it's, what's wrong, what's right? It's like, it's so confusing.
It's so confusing.
But a lot of it's out of our control. The things that are in our control, just, you know, be with that and get out of the idea of the fear, because we are still creating our own reality, right?
Yes.
Where our focus goes, energy flows. So
Yeah, so we can still all reach out to each other. We can still all find meaning in each day. And we can still all know that it's okay to have really strange thoughts and feelings, because it's a really strange time, and that it's going to be okay.
It will be, and to be, kind to yourself. To, this is you don't have to be doing anything in this time. If you feel like you should be doing this, should be doing that, it's a clear indication that you're not inspired to do it, and you're just going to meet resistance. Just go with the flow of things. If you feel inspired to work, then feel inspired to work that day. If you don't, then don't. It's just whatever. Right now, we don't know what's going to happen. So, using this time to connect with yourself, really at a deeper level, beautiful. And for sure, not about judgment or blame yourself or others. Everyone's dealing with it the best way they can. It's a pandemic. It's unusual. As you said, it's magnified. I say to people, it's just magnified. So your fights with your partner or weird things are happening. This is a weird time. It's okay. And it's all right. And if you allow yourself to go, let yourself off the hook for a moment.
Yeah.
And just be like, oh, you know what? All right. Forgot for a minute. Because no one's putting it on you. You putting it on yourself, whatever it is. Yeah. So just remember that, and see the opportunity of this. There's a quote, from Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, from every adversity and every failure, there's an equal opportunity, something along those lines.
For growth.
Because when we've hit great depressions and we've hit bad times, that's like the rock bottom. That part is stable, and there's a place where you can rise from there. I went there before, from my own rock bottom, and where I came from. Everyone who's watching this may hit their own rock bottom today, in a week, in a month, in 3 months, in a year. The thing that they thought was secure is not. Do not give up. When you hit there, start fresh. There is going to be an opportunity if you decide to look for it, and just go for it. And just talking from my own experience. And you know what the funny thing is? I don't want to get caught up in a whole thing here, but it's if I listen to like a conspiracy theorist talking, and I'm hearing them, and I go, you know what? And I hear it, okay. But the only truth really is our own experience.
Yes.
That's all the only truth is. What anyone says or says, okay, I believe you and I don't believe you. And I always kind of have that openness.
I believe you and I don't believe you. I'm interested in what you're saying.
I'm going to question.
I want to go down that rabbit hole today.
Because I went from what they were saying, I was like, but I experienced something different. I experienced something different from my experience of having it or whatever it was, or if I had it or not, or when I went to the hospital and the doctors. My experience doesn't match what you're saying. So who's truthful? Well, my experience is telling me my truth.
Yeah.
So it's trusting that. So it's questioning everything, right? And I don't want people to be like, watching news being like sheep. Oh, let's go there. Question, understand, do your own research if you need to. Don't just jump because they say jump.
Yeah.
It's like wondering what the agenda is. I'm not saying to the point where you become paranoid. Just have your own view, have your own thoughts.
Conscious decision making. From
a conscious space and questioning. Be your individual. You're an individual, all right? Part of a collective, but you're an individual. You have your own resources, and you'd be quite surprised when you dig deep how deep your reservoir of resources and intelligence really can be. If you're not following and in fear, for sure, 100%.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you, Alex.
I love the smile. Your constant smile is awesome.
I don't smile all day. Last night I was bored for about 45 minutes.
You're bored for 45 minutes?
Bored.
Well, you know, that's where creativity flows from, right?
Yeah, I changed the toothpaste mug. Yeah, it's lovely. Cleaned the bathroom.
Now yeah, okay. Clutching straws, or clutching toothbrushes.
Yeah.
So, okay, awesome. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure.
And good luck with your app.
Yeah.
And do drop a link in the comments with your and Julia's Coming Good podcast about your value system. What's it called again?
The Value Game. It's on my Facebook page as well. I think it's open to the public, so just have a look at The Value Game, type it in. Podcast on it. Yeah, okay. I'll send it over.
So lovely to catch up with you, Alex.
You too.
Yeah.
I'd be so keen to hear anyone who's got any comments or questions, and they could let us know. It'd be awesome.
Absolutely.
I'd be happy to chat.
Yeah, get in touch with him. He's a good coach.
Oh, thank you.
Look at me.
I'll catch you later.
Yeah, speak to you soon, Alex. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.